DC here. Hi guys and gals. Well, I am walking home. It's lunchtime, but I'm walking home because I'll be taking the car this afternoon for a work-related thing. So just kind of decided, okay, I didn't get the vlog yesterday lunch. I usually vlog on Wednesdays, or try to, but it didn't work out. So I thought maybe I'd walk along and try and vlog a little bit. Yeah, I was thinking about things of the past, and you know how you can have family differences. I mean, in your ancestors, and how things join and merge and become like common ancestry. And I was thinking about my parents and their parents, so to say. So from the if you know a little bit the way things are in Quebec, bonjour, there was, at least in that period, yeah, I say very much in that period, there was quite a large English-speaking population in the region where I was, called the Eastern Townships, which there still are a fair bit of English-speaking people. And so my mom was from English-speaking stock, and my dad, well, from French-speaking stock. And if you look at so what would be my grandparents, I guess we could say there was quite a big difference in the social status as well. So my granddad at the time had a sawmill, which he lost in flooding. I was going to say, sadly, the sawmill was in a town called Highwater, and I guess that's probably why the name of the town. Well, the Highwater, I suppose, if you think of sawmills and everything at the time, was probably very handy, and of course, sawmills were usually near water, at least then. And so, yeah. But then later on in life, he moved to the village where I was going to say my hometown as a young boy, called Sutton, and he bought a couple farms, and very involved in social life over there. I mean, so there was, they called them let me see, it wasn't the Freemasons, it'll come to me in a minute, different type of lodges, odd fellows. And my grandmother was like quite into the order of the Rebeccas, they were called, or something like that. And they were like the grand poobahs, each on their own time in their respective orders. And there was the farm forums and so on. And they were standing members of the Anglican Church over there. But I guess, that a lot of the English denominations, or English-speaking denominations, I say it that way because, again, if you're in Quebec, most of the French-speaking people were Catholic, and most of the English-speaking people, hello, most of the English-speaking people were from Protestant denominations. Yeah, so like my mom had piano lessons and went to high school and were part of societies and so on. They were, middle class, but well, I would say well off. I guess my grandfather fell on harder times later on, but that's like around that period. On my dad's side, though, well, they were also farmers, but with, I was going to say, much less probably productive farms. My granddad would go and work in the off seasons, either on the as so many people actually in the French-speaking world then, on the off seasons, would either go working for the train, so it would I guess it was the CPR, and or in the woods, things like that. And my grandmother would keep the farm going. My grandmother, so from my dad's side, it was an interesting story in a way for us, because we always said that she was a teacher. But if you look at shows like, you know, Anna Green Gables or a lot of older shows, you'll see that these are these multi-class farm, I was going to say multi-class one-room schools, and the eldest lady that had, you know, a bit of schooling, that was able to read, write arithmetic, you know, ended up being a teacher. So she was actually in Lake St. John. If you look in your on a map, you'll see it's way up north of Quebec, but that'd be another story for another time. But she was actually a teacher for a certain period in one of those schools. But having said that, you know, if you bring it down to today's world, she probably didn't have a high school education. Well, probably she didn't. And yet, in those days, you know, she was considered, you know, highly educated enough to be a teacher. Yeah, pretty different. I mean, like, my dad had to walk long distance to go to school in hilly terrain. There was big differences in their two worlds. It really was. If you go into Canadian literature, there's one book, well, quite well known, called Two Solitudes. And I guess in a way, you know, that kind of brings out a lot of things that were from that period. The French-speaking people, and that'll be something for another vlog because I'm already getting up there in the minutes, but the French-speaking people had to, I was going to say, were probably at a disadvantage, but as we'll see, they gained terrain over the years for sure. But one thing that I realized, you know, like my dad, my mom and dad, they married, and of course it was like it was probably, in the eyes of many, a complete social mismatch. I'm glad they did, though. But it will come for interesting stories probably in the future. But yeah, they did, you know, and their first house where they lived when I was a kid, you know, well, I'll keep that for another story. But it was definitely not what my mom knew as a young lady, that was for sure. But you know, they persevered, kept through it, and I think we turned out okay. But you can see that life over the years, it's interesting to see how the challenges are different. Simply that, I would say. Some would say there was bigger challenges before. I think up to a point, yes, and up to a point, no. That could be debated. What is the challenge and why? But I think, you know, there was a higher bar, I was going to say, in moral standards and so on. I know a lot of you will say, no, that's not true. Well, that's my opinion. Anyway, but yeah, so first little chat about, you know, family history, and probably chat more another time, but that'll be all for now. I'm up to almost 9 minutes. So DC signing off. Take care, everybody. So have a good Thursday. Bye-bye.